You told me that you didn't get a chance to watch the Charlamagne interview with Kanye.
No.
Khal did. What are your thoughts?
I think I tweeted yesterday that it was probably more intense than Infinity War. I mean, an hour and 45 minutes of, I don't want to say raw and uncut Kanye, but, you know, pretty much close to it. It's a lot for anybody to take in one sitting.
Well, I felt like he posted it on his YouTube channel, so he didn't want any cuts so that it felt like it wasn't manipulated.
Yeah.
Which I can understand why it's an hour and 45 minutes long.
I mean, didn't he say at one point that they were going to get 10 mil for that? He tweeted that, and I don't know where that went from. There's going to be a shit ton of money to I'm putting it on my own YouTube.
He did break 1 million views, like.
He had no ads on it though. You know about ads on YouTube. He ain't had nothing on it.
Bless you.
Thank you.
Yeah, bless you. You alright?
Yeah, I'm alright. How was the season?
Facts.
All right, well, Jinx, you did see the TMZ clip.
Yeah.
Can
we cut? I gotta like sneeze again. Yeah, man, I saw the TMZ thing and I tweeted, "This is not the craziest thing Kanye's ever said. This is the craziest thing arguably that I've ever heard from anyone." And then I kind of tried to walk it back a little bit, not because what he said wasn't crazy, but it's a sad thing. And crazy is like pejorative, like it comes with like a negative connotation to it. Yeah. He's not crazy. What he said was totally off the hook. Like, and it's also like not unique. Like, first off, that theory specifically isn't unique. Like, it's not groundbreaking. Like, people have tried to tackle that idea for years, right? Like, during slavery, after, like, there's a whole like thought process to that and information around that. But when you mix that with his platform, when you mix that with his celebrity, his influence, and then a platform that's low barrier of entry, like being able to say stuff today and media will eat it up, or like a Twitter, it becomes irresponsible. And like, there's a reason that he thinks it's like, this is crazy, no one's ever tackled this idea before, that's why I'm saying it. No, people have, they don't say that shit because it's totally ridiculous. I keep being like, what's gonna happen next? Because like, I didn't see the Charlamagne interview, I was in a meeting. I come back out and this is the only thing people are talking about. And so each thing eats the next thing, it eats the next thing. And I don't know how much, the further he goes out, I don't know how much further he can walk it back. And I was saying before, like, what happens if he gets on IG Live today? And it's just him going for like 2 hours. Like what kind of insanity will, and I get it, because he touched on that in the interview actually. We were talking about not wanting to use the term crazy. He was, because we have to remember that a lot of this is coming from a guy who just a couple years ago had a breakdown. He admitted he had a breakdown. He went to, you know, a facility in Los Angeles, I believe. They put him on medications. He's dealing with exhaustion from touring, you know, the situation with his wife getting robbed, like and you know, hell, just whatever other emotional baggage he's been carrying with him. There's a lot that's going into it, and he admitted, I think it was on TMZ when he was talking about, you know, he was on opioids for a minute. Yeah. At some point he had gotten liposuction, but he said that he was prescribed a certain amount of medication. I think he said like 7. Yeah. And he's supposed to take 7 every day, but he said he takes 1 once a week or something like that. I forget the exact term or the exact phrase, but I mean, you're prescribed, if you're going to take meds, you're prescribed those meds for a certain allotment in a certain time period. He's doctoring himself and he's setting his own medication schedule. It's not gonna help at all. You might as well not even take the shit if you're only gonna do, I'm assuming, 1 med 1 day a week. It doesn't sound like. I also can't even like grasp anything that he's saying, because he's speaking with such a lack of specificity that he's just saying things like, I don't know like what's real and what isn't, but I do know that everything he says is magnified, like his life. His influence is magnified, his persona is magnified, his tweets are magnified, even when he's like tweeting like funny stuff, and then when he's tweeting stuff that's like arguably problematic, then he's tweeting stuff that's inarguably problematic. Like, this is a crazy time for him, and it seems like every time it gets further. First he's like, all right, like he's stopping concerts, and that's like interesting in itself, but then you can start to see how some of these things add up. Like, he's having these like really strong impulses that no one can like bench. You know what I mean? He's just doing things.
Yeah.
And I do actually believe that he's not coming from, there's no malice in what he's doing. I do believe that. But a lot of bad things happen with good intentions. You know what I mean? Like, especially when you're uninformed, you're unprepared, and you're in this place to do a lot. Like, you know, I think Angel, he spoke with the guy from TMZ, Van Lathan.
Yeah.
And Van used an analogy that was like, you know, this guy is, it's like a baby with a gun. Like, that baby doesn't know the magnitude of what they're doing. It's a little bit weirder because Kanye's not a baby. He's a 40-year-old man, you know? So, and he's given us information that says otherwise to what he's thinking. But, I don't know. He's like clearly dealing with something that I don't think anyone can diagnose right now, especially as outsiders. And not even on a medical term, just like no one can figure out.
Yeah.
But he's still actively doing shit. You know what I mean? Like, that's happening in real time. I definitely wanted to stop. But like, that's why I said it's sad, because something's going on, and whether he's tweeting or not, this is still happening for him.
Yeah.
And it's a lot. Like, there's a lot of shit swimming up in his head and in his life. So,
what are your thoughts on Van's response?
I thought it was measured. I thought it was the right response. Like,
do you think it was premeditated?
No, I think
there was some question about that, but I don't think so. I feel like the way I'm sorry to cut you off. I feel the way TMZ is set up, if someone like Kanye, whoever's going to be in there, they know they probably got cameras hooked up, or that can be readily hooked up to everybody's seating area, and they're more, because he was mic'd. So I'm assuming they have all that stuff. That might be premeditated, but I don't think they did it in a way where, Van, make sure you have some bars ready for Kanye if he starts talking. I feel like Van was very genuine in, shit, I don't believe this and I need to call you out on it just so you know the magnitude of what's going on. I mean, I don't know Van personally. I've heard him on podcasts, and again, you know, shouts out to Angel for doing the interview with him so quickly. Van was speaking for the people. He was speaking for us who were like, Kanye, many of us have grown up with the music. A lot of us have appreciated what you've done for years, and you sound crazy right now. Or something's not. Where is this coming from? Why are you doing this? And last week he cut a lot of his managers. He cut all his management. He cut a lot of people who aren't down with Yeezy, I think is what he said. This could be the fruit of this. Is like literally, oh, TMZ, I want to come see y'all. Let's go on live and start a stream of consciousness conversation that brings up wild tidbits like slavery's a choice. Like, it's not hard to see that if he had someone in place to be like, A, you might not want to go on TMZ live the way you're talking right now, or B, we need to cut this shit right now because this is too much. You know, there's an end result if there's nobody there to, filter that.
Yeah, I don't know, because I'm kind of also like really annoyed at the idea that's like become this like, it's like conspiracy theory for everything now. Like, it's got to be premeditated and like this is part of a marketing rollout. Like, nah. And if that's what the intention was, it's clearly gone off the rails. Like, that seems to be the tone of everything, is like, there's this other curtain behind this curtain, and like, he really means something, and wait till you figure it out. It's like, he's a genius. Like, if that's what y'all think, like, if you guys are watching this in real time too, you think that this is like some, like, they're gonna pull back the curtain and it's gonna be like, this is for an album, or he's going to break through with this thought that the people for the last, like, couple decades, and over the last couple like centuries of America haven't stumbled on yet, like and it's gonna happen in front of us in real time. Like, you know what I mean?
Crazy, yeah.
Like, what are you guys talking about? Like,
doesn't make sense.
Yeah, you know what I mean? But I think everyone is like, we're just living in crazy times. The way we like, it's all live and we're all in it at the same time. There is no like media and then people. It's like all one thing. So what you saw at TMZ was that, like, he's in a live scenario doing stuff, and you don't even know who's like is TMZ right or wrong for that? We don't even know. And I don't think anyone's trying to source that information at all anymore.
Yeah.
Everyone's just doing shit. We've seen that for the last couple of years play out in multiple arenas, like, and whatever people are doing, they're just doing shit. And then people attribute like a value to it. Like, well, it was really to do this. Nah, you just saying that. You was really out here just rolling the dice every day. And I think my man is rolling the dice.
Yeah.
Like, he's gambling with everything that he's got and our attention. And we're giving it to him. Like, I don't really know what the answer is.
No, it's hard. It's hard to figure out what the end result of this is going to be. And even, you know, to your, you know, I do agree that this doesn't feel like a album rollout.
Nah,
you know,
it's definitely not an album.
And you know, and I know a lot of people probably attribute that because, you know, he's married to Kim Kardashian. You know, the way they've infused their social media and their life to become a part of the storyline for, you know, a reality show. He might be taking that lane, but I don't think he's calculating these steps at all to be like, all right, on Tuesday I'm gonna drop this interview, then go to TMZ, I'm gonna say this wild shit, and then it's gonna be all over the news, you know, the next day. He's just, what he said in the interview, he's really in the streams right now, where the streaming content, streaming music, and just the conversations that, you know, it's a stream of consciousness. He's literally thinking and then saying it. You know, it sounds like he might be pulling some of that back, but if you put him on a camera right now, whatever's on his mind is going to be recorded for that camera.
Yeah.
And he's not, it's, and like you said earlier, there's a lack of context, so even if there was a deeper meaning to it,
he can't see that.
He can't see it, and he's not going to say it. He's just dropped. It's kind of like, it's reminding me of Life is Pablo in the sense that album, that was technically an album that was never completed. You know, he dropped a draft of it, then he went in and tinkered with it. Then he went in and we saw that go a lot for months, you know, where, oh, this is the 4th iteration of this song or whatever. It's almost like he's doing that with himself, but instead of having a confined space for us to see what those end results are, it's seeing him take all those pieces and, you know, try and fit them into, you know, some type of shape that makes sense. Because what's to say that he doesn't have some ideas that are, you know, interesting and not as ridiculous as some of the stuff that's coming out of his mouth. You know, you gotta break a couple of eggs to get an omelet, you know, it's that mentality, but we don't need to see all of that. You know, people want to see a fully realized situation, and, you know, it, because of where he's at right now, you know, as a man, as an artist, it's scary. You know, it's making, when we were watching the TMZ stuff yesterday in office, everybody was kind of like, shit, he's not okay.
Yeah.
This is not okay. And it wasn't like people cracking jokes or, you know, trying to get tweets off. It was,
it's like
concern.
It's like happening in front of us, and like him being our favorite, like most people's favorite musician, like their lifetime musician aside, like it's like anything, yo. It's like when you see a figure that you see all the time not doing well, you know what I mean? Or you find out someone's sick, like it's that feeling of like, oh man, it's like watching, you know, what feels like a car starting to, like, the wheels like shaking, and you're like, oh shit, you know what I mean? You're like, oh, what's about to happen? It's like we're watching it in real time, and you're not hearing about it after. And it doesn't, that's us in the audience, right? Like, woe is us, but like for him, like that's like it's a real thing, you know what I mean? And like this guy's put a lot out. He's a lot of hours and miles on his car, literally, like his person. He's done a lot in a short amount of time. You know,
and gone through a lot in a short amount of time.
Yeah, and I mean, it's a human life, right? And I'm sure there's other people going through, not sure, I know for a fact there's many and multitudes of people going through the same thing. They're just not Kanye, you know? And that platform and that attention and the way our media is set up, that we're doing this right now, he could be doing it right now too on our phones. Yeah. Is that's when it gets to be like, it has really the effects can multiply. You know, like how dangerous it is for him, or like the people that are following him, or the people that are uninformed, you know? Yeah,
because don't forget, once he was posting about Trump and the MAGA hat and all that stuff, Fox and Friends were quick to be like, oh, you know, Kanye, and that's the wrong attention. I forget what I was listening to, but it might have been Ebro. It's somebody. It's funny to think that right now they're cool with you. Say something that they don't like. See how quickly they're going to drop you, and then where are you? You don't have these allies that you thought you had because you sent a tweet, again with no context, again with nobody really understanding. And that's the problem, that it's because he was in the interview, he definitely made a point to say that he more liked about Trump the idea that someone like him, who, you know, millionaire or whatever, but he was seen as a reality show host, he was seen as just like this face, you know, for the last like 3-4 decades, could then become president. You know, I think he was inspired by that, and not necessarily the actual politics.
Mm-hmm.
But the problem is when you just say, I rock with Trump, over the last couple of years, there's a whole reason why your fan base would be like alarmed over this. And for him to not have, like, and that's like, that's putting it mildly, but for him to not have the foresight to be like, maybe I should figure out how to explain this in a way that it doesn't sound like I'm promoting, you know, racist sensibilities, reporting, or you know, supporting people who put these policies into play that can ban whole nations from coming to our country. Like, that's a weighted statement that I don't think he is even, he's on a level where he's not even worrying about that. He's just, it's almost like he's coming up with hooks or coming up with bars that would sound great in the context of a 16, but we're just getting that one bar.
Yeah.
You know, and it's just ludicrous.
You bring up a good point where a lot of people, I guess, threw him under the bus after yesterday.
Mm-hmm.
Are you guys still rocking with Kanye?
Here's my thing is, like, I understand, like, there's always like the initial action and then like this set of explainers that are supposed to like provide context. The reason art lives as art, like the reason things are presented a certain way and like things exist in certain arenas, is for human understanding, right? So like when I heard him rap, hopped off Amistad and made I'm a God, I was like, I could see how that written could be crazy. I can see how that in the song could be something that it feels in line with some of the things he's done before. And I'm like, if this is what you want to do that, right? But he doesn't like those. He doesn't like being confined like that. So then at a certain point, where should we understand him as? Is this artistry? Is this, how do we rock with him, right? And I don't know about like cancel culture, about like saying this guy is done or whatever, because first off, how you cancel him? What you gonna do?
Yeah, literally.
So like, what are you gonna do? How do you cancel someone? If I rock with him, I don't rock with any of the things he's been saying. I almost don't rock with, probably I'd say 98% of the things he's been saying over the last few weeks that he's been active. I can say that. I don't know about like if I don't hate him. I don't know him. You know what I mean? Yeah. I don't rock with any things he's saying, and I think everything he does for the immediate future is going to be viewed in this bucket. So I think it's super dangerous for what he wants to do, whatever message he believes in that he wants to say, and his art. You know, if those songs ain't smoking, he's really going to be in trouble. Because that's what people want you to do, what they want you to do. The moment you can't do that no more, that's when your transgressions, that's when they indict you. You know what I mean? So he's in a weird spot.
Yeah, he's in it's a super weird spot, but it puts us in a weird spot. And I
know it doesn't answer your question, but like,
yeah, well, it's I think because it's deeper than just being like switching the light on and off. Like, again, if we're talking about a guy who is going through a lot and has, you know, actual medical issues and situations going on, it's hard to just throw that away. Like, my hope is that he's getting the help that he needs, or he's at least trying to seek it. I mean, I don't subscribe to the idea what he said, the world is my therapist. That's not how it works, because the world is on Twitter and the world is fucked.
The world's what twists you up.
The world is fucked.
I don't know anything about that level of medicine. I don't know anything about the details and like his life lived and experiences. Like, I've heard these things, but we all walk in different shoes, right? So I don't know. One thing might break a man, one thing might build a man. Like, I don't know. I'd like for him to gain clarity, and I'd like for him to do it without us.
Exactly.
Because one, we're complicit in this. Like, we're a part of this, and we twist. It's like when you have a relationship with someone, it's good that y'all have a relationship. The moment you open it up to everyone else, those factors add to it. I'd like for him to figure out whatever his core relationships are, whether it's with someone that's going to help him gain clarity, himself, whatever it is. I'd like him to do that sans us, because we're not going to clear this up for him. You know what I mean? We're only going to take this and how it makes us feel.
Right.
There's little that we can offer besides maybe like a sea of support for him that he clearly really wants. That's not gonna help him, and he's, I don't know on what level, whether it's like politically, information wise, medical, like there's clearly some distress that's acting out. So I just hope he gains clarity, and I would love if that didn't include us.
Word.
Yeah.
And I think the other problem with like, do we immediately cancel him or not? For some, whether it's a filmmaker or, you know, an artist, the bottom line is if we don't support them, they won't be able to eat, or at least they won't be able to be afforded these opportunities to eat from the people that write the checks, whether it's a Harvey Weinstein, an R. Kelly, Louis C.K., whatever. Kanye, the last thing he was talking about in an interview, he's standing on his 300-acre plot of land talking about, I'm building a community. I don't know what that means. He's talking about factories and all this other stuff. Like, the way the music industry is built right now, us not listening to his album isn't going to really affect his pockets at all. So it's almost like, and I don't want to say, oh, well, we shouldn't cancel him because it's not going to make a difference anyway. But I think my thought is deeper in hearing him speak for, you know, an hour 45 minutes plus the snippets, and we only got, I don't watch the TMZ show, we only got the couple, you know, 2-3 minute clips, so I don't know what else they could have in the chamber or what he could have said. But my hope is more that whatever this is, he figures out or gets the help that he needs to figure out what he needs to be doing mentally, and he can try and understand why, you know, because his voice is so powerful, he needs to check what he says. For the people who are following him, or the people who on Twitter can use his words against him and people like him, whether they look like him or they're in the culture, what have you. It's playing with fire if you don't know what the fuck you're doing. And, you know, I hate to say it like that, but I don't know if Kanye really realizes what the severity was going on.